Hello and welcome back to Deck Pilot. This week I'm taking Crackthorn on the ladder. I've been playing this deck a lot. I played it a lot during the last 2 weeks to climb up to the top end of God rank. I wanted to see if I could get into top 10 and stick around in that region for a while, and Crackthorn was the deck that did it for me. It was actually this list exactly. I climbed from rank 230 all the way up to rank 5. And the great thing about Crackthorn is it's just a really solid deck. It's quite linear. You know what you're going to do every match, and it has a lot of momentum as well, so it can be very hard to stop once you get the deck moving and going. And you have a lot of great options from both green and red. You have all the power-ups, you have all the best early game creatures. From red you have all the removal, and you have stuff like Ground Shake and Axe Grinder, not to mention the big Crackthorn to help you finish your matches. So a very solid, consistent deck. If you're looking to climb the ladder, I'd highly recommend giving this a try. So let's get on to the matches and see how it performs. Alright guys, we are into our first match. We're going up against Sippi the 1. And we are playing Crackphone, like I said. And yeah, that's fine. We're going to just throw away. We want to find a creature. Sagami Warrior, Axe Grinder are great. Wood Elemental is not too bad. But Wood Elemental is better if you have the Explore, 100%. And Explorer is ours, so we get to make a turn 1 collector play. And getting your collection going early with Crackthorn is always really good, because it basically allows you to ride that momentum I was talking about in the intro, because you have a lot more Faeria to use, and it's much easier to like combo removal and develop creatures at the same time. And yeah, we'll see how this match plays out. Now, I have been playing a bit of Crackthorn today already. I wanted to get a feel for the meta before I went into this video, and funnily enough, a lot of people were playing Crackthorn, so it seems like everyone sees the true strength of Crackthorn. Now, there's a few different builds going around. There are the Spider builds. We've seen Deepwood Stalker creep its way into Crackthorn list. It helps with mono blue. It helps with yellow events. You just get more removal, essentially, on top of the removal you already play. But you also get to keep your creature as well. So it's a little bit more valuable in some cases, because it gives you a collector or just another body that you can empower or use as just fodder when you're playing on board. Now, double neutral coming out from Sippi here into an Outland Ranger. So this is more than likely going to be mid-red. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, if there are more neutrals coming down than anything, I probably want to challenge my opponent at this well. Simply because we're developing so many special lands, we're not going to have as much time to develop the neutrals. This is probably going to be one of our only neutrals we play this game. And we do have the Horsemaster, so if this Outland Ranger decides to step into this region, we can actually just Horsemaster it straight up onto a mountain here, and then we can go into the well. So it's looking very mid-reddish at the moment, as I thought. Now, if he was to play Axe Grinder here, that's actually a really good line. We'll see if a campfire comes down. Yeah, so there's a campfire. Just to play around a potential Horsemaster play, which is absolutely fair. Now, let's take a look. So we'll take the mountain, and we're gonna go for the Horsemaster line. Horsemaster line is absolutely fine here. We can take a clear. So now if our opponent has, let's say our opponent wanted to play Ground Shaker, it doesn't actually kill the Horsemaster and I still collect, so Sippi will have to maybe invest removal and play a creature at the same time, which is a little clunkier than just, oh, I still have my creature on board, I can just play another creature. So taking the opportunity to remove threats is always really powerful. And as we can see here, going for the Axe Grinder, Cypher's Wrath? No Cypher's Wrath, okay. We're in business, and we get the, this is excellent. So we get access to the Flame Burst this turn. We can take an Inner Mountain for our Axe Grinders, take the Flame Burst clear, and then we can just dash right onto this mountain. So we're basically telling Sippi he can't collect Faeria or set up a collector without removing one of our threats first. We've covered this mountain, so we can't just develop a creature here to collect next turn. He committed to land around the outside of our land development, so going for a more aggressive land play. But what that allowed us to do is it allowed us to dash onto that land, just showing how powerful dash is, and lock out that mountain and force Sippi to build a creature elsewhere if he wants to play a red creature. And what's even more important, I feel, about Sagami Warrior in a matchup like this is when there's only one mountain, it's very powerful to cover enemy mountains, because dealing 4 damage is quite expensive for a red player, and Bomb Slinger takes 3 mountains altogether, so it can be quite difficult to stop that. And we just have the perfect answer, really. I would like to have built a land here if possible, but I can't, unfortunately. So what we're going to do, we're going to move up, take +1, drop the Ground Shaker, and then take care of this War Beast. Now this leaves Sippi on 5 Faeria, so could develop a creature, but the chances of these dying is very slim, unless he has Bomb Slinger. Like, Bomb Slinger is pretty much the perfect response here. You can take you can take a mountain here or here, probably here I'd imagine, and then Bomb Slinger up, kill the Sagami Warrior, and then I'm left with a Ground Shaker that may have to actually just run into it, and that means it's much easier to kill the Ground Shaker a little later on. But I am playing Crackthorn. I do have a lot of removal. Now, if there isn't a Bomb Slinger, it's probably much more difficult to handle this board state. You could play +1 into Ground Shaker defensively or offensively, but you do open yourself up to a potential power-up. So yeah, it's going to be far more aggressive. So now Sippi's respecting the fact that, okay, could have a power-up. It'd be actually really bad if a power-up did show up. And yeah, we're gonna move back, I think. Collect from this well. Probably take an aggressive forest just for teleportation, and then we can take the last mountain here next turn. This can collect. Elderwood Embrace. So we're basically winning the race as it. Oh, actually, we could probably just forest here. But if I forest, does it really matter? Let's work out the land placement. So if we forest here, we stop a mountain going to the spot, which I don't think Sippi really cares about. But if we forest here and take a mountain here next turn, we have the potential to completely take over this side of the map. And that is pretty much what Sippi's doing now. He's prioritizing clearing this, taking control of this side. So I feel like we can do the same. So there we go. So that was a quick concede from Sippi there. It was very hard for him to win the race at that point because I had access to removal. I can kill a 5/4. 5/4 is not really outside of the reach of Crackthorn, but a 5/8 to mono red is actually pretty devastating, especially with the Crackthorn coming down next turn. And it just goes to show how powerful Crackthorn's early game is, which is you have these strong 3 to 4 cost early creatures which can do a lot of work when you combined removal and power-ups with them. And I kind of feel like the dash onto that mountain was the winning line for that game. Sagami Warrior single-handedly probably won that match for me. And yeah, just a very, very powerful deck. Into our next match, and we're going to be playing against W Taps. I played against W Taps earlier, and I believe he was playing Yellow Rush, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how this goes. If this is Yellow Rush, actually this is a pretty fantastic hand. I have a lot of removal. I have a turn 1 collector. I could just throw this actually. I think this is fine, and just keep these two. So don't be afraid to play Horsemaster as a turn 1 collector. It's absolutely fine, to be honest. I do really value the mobility from this card. This is the reason why I've got 2 of these and only 1 Grove Caller is because A, it's a turn 1 collector, but B, it doesn't cost 3 forests, so it's just a bit more reliable in terms of mobility. And I feel like it's a better card when you get into this position, because when you get to this spot against your opponent, I feel like it's just a much cleaner way to zip across and attack. And like I said, I predicted it was going to be Rush again, and there we have it. So now we can just take collection here, and we can just pass. Now, I kind of like developing another mountain this turn, but we don't always get that luxury, unfortunately. I am going to force my opponent to the right side with my next play. And I actually did this exact strategy against my opponent in the previous game. Now, I need to weigh up what's more important to me right now. Because Elderwood Embrace is actually really good in this situation, because yellow is going to have access to a bit of removal going into this turn. Choking Sands, Wind Soldiers, Soul Drains. But we need to kind of analyze what's the most important card, and it's actually going to probably be the Wood Elemental. And if I Elderwood this, it pretty much means that he can only attack with one creature this side. I think that the only sad thing is, if I do Elderwood the Elemental, the chances of it collecting is very slim. It's probably going to have to defend, which means Groundshaker may not come down next turn. But let's try the Wood Elemental here, and then we're going to move this Horsemaster. Actually, do we even want to move the Horsemaster? So one plan you could do is you could move the Horsemaster here, and it means that they need removal to be able to push any damage, or they have to take the central tile, but there's a Wood Elemental blocking. The only issue with that is if they do have Wind Soldier, they collect another Faeria. But I feel like I'm happy to just say, well, you need Wind Soldier if you want to. If you have Wind Soldier, it's the same price as Soul Drain, so they're both technically the same. In terms of economy goes, at least. Doomsday! Wow. Did not expect that. Well, to be honest, Doomsday is not that bad. It did give W Tap's initiative, but what is a yellow Rush's initiative play? Play a 1-life creature and hit my orb, and maybe play a prayer. Maybe with a demon on the back of that, but none of these things. Dash 2. Kind of don't want to play Groundshaker yet. If only I could get. If I could get to this tile, I'd play Crackthorn this turn, 100%. Although I do have another Horsemaster left, I guess we could just take double neutral. Play Groundshaker. If I play Groundshaker, I have 1 Faeria remaining. I gain 3 next turn. Takes me up to 4. He collects off this well, which brings me up to 5, which means I can't Crackthorn next turn. I'd just rather Crackthorn at this point, to be honest. Although if I Groundshaker here, it basically forces a land build this turn. But I don't have much else going on. It's a tough decision, actually. Very tough decision. I've taken no damage, so I'm going to Crackthorn next turn. Because we can just dump a 7/7 in front of his orb, and then we have Flame Burst in hand. We have Cypher's Wrath, so we could even Cypher's Wrath some of the creeps first, some of the creatures, sorry, before we decide to play the Crackthorn to maximize the amount of damage going to orb. Now, let's say. Oh, that doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm still going to be able to Crackthorn. Right, let's do it. Ouch, 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 ouch. And that is lethal next turn. So now I'm basically forcing my opponent to have an answer. Be it Last Nightmare, be it another Doomsday. Doomsday's lethal for me as well. Have Flame Burst in hand. It's probably just going to be GG's from there. Unless it's a Nightmare. But I just Crackthorn again. There we go. And yeah, oh, there we go. GG's. Oh, that Doomsday was so rough. Basically, having the Doomsday there because of how oppressive my defenses were, just gave me the win. I feel that Doomsday is really weak against Crackthorn simply because they have so much damage from hand, and a Crackthorn being able to dash into an aggressive position makes it very hard to recover from a Doomsday. But yeah, that is pretty much the Yellow Rush matchup. I can't remember the last time I lost to Yellow Rush with Crackthorn. So if you are having problems against Yellow Rush, then Crackthorn is a perfect choice for you. We are on a win streak so far, guys. Things are going great. Let's keep it up. Okay, so we got Sagami Warrior. That's great. We could even keep Flame Burst, actually, because we'll go Forest, Mountain, Mountain, and we can remove a threat. So let's just remove the Crackthorn from our mulligan. And this is a pretty bad mulligan, to be honest. Like, Horsemaster is so much better. So Sagami Warrior coming down. We're going to collect off this well next turn with a Mountain. And then if we need anything to get cleared, we have Flame Burst in hand ready. Mountain, Axe Grinder. And there we go. So like I said, Flame Burst, great keep for answering early threats. Now, if this was an Axe Grinder, we'd actually have a better... We'd have a much better line, but it's fine. We can just do this. And Wood Elemental here is good, because it allows us to position our mountains a little better. So we can go, like, Mountain, Mountain. Like, Mountain here is pretty good too, but I don't think it's completely necessary. Because you want to get a good teleport land. Oh, that is a fairy. That is a fairy. Now we need... Well, it doesn't actually do anything from this position. So it's fine, actually. We just... Yeah, that's absolutely fine. We can just still take the mountain, so we're sticking to our game plan. And then we take the removal. Because Cypher's Wrath kills this card. That's important to know. See, we're out of range of this card. There is no tricks like Shifting Tide or Flash Wind that we have to worry about. Oh well, I spoke too soon. There is a lake now. I guess I should have been a bit more respectful of the fairy. Well, he didn't collect Faeria this turn. Again, I still feel kind of the same. He basically demanded to have the Shifting Tide there. I was actually just thinking it was mono red, but perhaps this was a little more transparent than I gave it credit for. Now, again, we're still out of the reach of this, and if this moves down one, it can hit us here, but it can't hit us here. If it moves up, if it moves down one, it can hit us here, but can't hit us here. So, just kind of planning out how I want to develop my land this turn. It's kind of weird, actually, because I kind of want to develop a Wood Elemental here, so I can go Mountain here. I could. No, I won't have enough Faeria. We got Crackthorn next turn. So let's just do this. I don't think I really care if this dies now. If it does, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. Yep. So we've done it this way instead, which is fine. Usually I'd just probably develop a mountain here in case I lost this spot, because we had the Wood Elemental to accelerate us, it doesn't really matter. And now this fairy needs another mobility trick in order to clear one of these, but we're still going to have one left, which is absolutely fine. Actually looks like it's just going to move all naturally here. A good tip with ranged creatures, guys, is to kind of follow their range path. Whenever you're planning on your moves, whenever you're planning moves or you're planning to play a creature somewhere, you know, highlight that ranged creature, see where exactly it can go, and then go from there. Now, Crackthorn isn't that great in this spot, but it's absolutely fine here. And we're just going to play Crackthorn. We don't have any better plays than Crackthorn right now, from what I can see. The Grove Crawler's not really that relevant. It'll be relevant next turn, perhaps. But yeah, we'll just Crackthorn. We're going to Crackthorn away from the range of this Flame Silk. So right by here. That was a pretty sad Crackthorn, to be honest. They do happen. They do happen. Like, if it killed one frog, like, killing a frog was priority there, or at least making this a 5/5 was priority. Simply because these two frogs now just kill our Crackthorn. Spell Will into Spell Will, maximum fun for our opponent there, not too fun for us. But it looks like he maybe drew garbage. He did the whole hand shuffle thing. I think that's a good sign of, that's a good way to know how frustrated your opponent is. The old hand shuffle. Whenever I play Killing Time always hand shuffles me. Another Fairy. Okay. So hopefully we'll be able... Well, we're going to be able to kill this Fairy. That's for sure. Oh, maybe not. Well, actually, we can still do it. Yeah, we can still do it. So we'll move the bigger guy. So let's just take into consideration that this will actually be able to shoot on this tile next turn. So what we probably need to do is do it this way. We're going to have to develop another forest. And then move this here so we're out of reach of all these cards. Now this can get banqueted and jump over and clear. That's a little unfortunate. We didn't pick up any Cypher's Rafts, which is pretty sad as well. Potentially Flame Burst and the Axe Grinder caused the snowball there. So maybe not respecting the Fairy could cost me the game. I would definitely say the Flame Burst on the Axe Grinder was wrong in hindsight. Because I wasn't entirely sure that my opponent was playing blue. But now I know. Now I know if my opponent plays Flame Silk and is not in the middle, they're probably splashing another color to make sure that it can move around. Banquet as we were expecting. Because at least this way... Oh man, all the shifting tides. At least, well, I was going to say, at least this way we know that this is going to take some damage at least. I can't decide what's more dangerous. The Fairy that's double collecting on the solo collecting Ground Shaker. Probably the Ground Shaker. We can just take +1 and then we can just Flame Burst this. This gets the double collect next turn, but it gets to put itself in a different position. Like, it can move here, and then it covers this range. It actually covers this land, which is pretty good. So I don't know what's off spell world and what is in his deck anymore, because he doubles spell world. Now we get the Crackthorn next turn. We're taking care of those blasted fairies, and we could potentially get a good Crackthorn off next turn. Now the only issue is this is an incredibly dangerous card, simply because it's a bit like the Windstorm Charger. It can extend its power very high, very easily, and that is a problem for us. Actually, I think we kill this first before we play Crackthorn. I can't play Crackthorn next turn, but let's say, for example, I Crackthorn now. So I Crackthorn. I'd have to leave him here. It's just, I don't want to keep a 7/7 down here. No way. I can't Crackthorn next to my opponent because this will probably just kill it. Unless I don't care. Unless I don't really care. I guess I don't, actually. Because if he has to invest resources to clear my Crackthorn, it stops him from double collecting. So let's do it. And it's far more important for us to leave Crackthorn here to collect Faeria in case it does live. Now, if a Frogify does come down, they will still trade off. Our opponent has initiative, though, so it's going to be pretty tough for us to come back from this position. And I was saying this in Deck Doctor, like, momentum is so important for Crackthorn. If you lose that momentum, it can be very difficult to ever come back. So the frog is going to hop away anyway. And then the disciple's going to come down, and that's going to be a frog. Flame Burst? Okay. Wait, what? Cypher's Wrath. Cypher's Wrath. Oh, I thought he made a mistake. I think he was just bit of BM there. Alright, that can die. We'll take Faeria and we'll pass. So next turn we have +1 Ground Shaker. And we can play that in a safer position. Killing the disciples can be very tough for us. What's he up to? Prophet of Tides. Don't see that card very often. I'm not sure how I feel about Prophet. I think it's okay. I don't think it's amazing, but it's definitely decent. So it's safe ground shaker, so we can collect Faeria. That's pretty much what we need to prioritize from now on. We need to make sure that we can collect Faeria, have good economy, and we're able to make a comeback by keeping this creature alive and playing another creature on top of that. Another disciple, that's fine. As long as it's another spell will. Oh no. Ah man, I really hate Spellwell. It's not. There are only. I think it's the only card in Faeria I dislike. I love every other card. Every other card I get on with just fine. But Spellwell is just maximum sadness, as I call it. This guy again. Well, again, he's in a weird position. But I think the positional play is based on the fact that my opponent has to play like that. Let's take a draw. Well, okay, so what do we want to achieve this turn? Flame Burst on this is very valuable. These are cards that can snowball out of control, and I'd rather kill them now when they're lower and spend less resources and kill them later. If I do Flame Burst, what am I doing next turn? Probably playing Axe Grinder, which I can do anyway, but I do need to find an answer for this card before it starts shifting around the place. So let's take a draw. We'll look for the Cypher's Wrath. Ooh, what a draw that is. Okay. So our opponent tri-collects next turn. Do I actually stop the possibility of killing this disciple at the top by going for a Firestorm next turn instead? So if I move back, I'm going to get 8 Faeria off collection plus 1 Flame Burst. It's very possible that I can actually pull off a Firestorm next turn if this doesn't die. Now, another thing to consider as well, I moved back here because if this was to get Shifting Tide, it can shoot me in this spot. So now he needs double Shifting Tide and able to shoot me, and this isn't even active. So my biggest hope now is my opponent doesn't extend these cards beyond their base values. Please don't play any events. Don't play any events. You don't need them. It's fine. It's fine. If he doesn't play any events, I am going to be having a field day. It's cool. It's cool. I'm behind. I don't know. I have no comeback. That's absolutely fine. Okay. We got ourselves a match. But how do we approach this? That's the question. So the Flame Silk Fairy is actually a big threat. It can push 8 damage next turn. The problem is I probably lose my Ground Shaker to this guy. But if I pick up a Cypher's Wrath, I could be okay. Let's give him a installing updates. Man, this match was looking lost about 2-3 turns ago, but being able to draw that Firestorm and clear almost the entire board is very valuable. Now, the turtle can clear my Ground Shaker, but the chances of it living is very slim. Another spell! Well, no! Stop it! Stop it! You're making me very sad here. Oh, no. Well, this is like, these trade off now. Oh, wow! He's actually going for the Frogify. Interesting. So now if I draw a Cypher's Wrath, I don't have initiative, but I'm actually still in a really good spot. Draw. That's absolutely fine. So all of a sudden, I can race with this card. I can actually race with this now. This is really good. We've just seen a Frogify being used. We have a healing, which is going to be very handy. It's going to use the Battletoad here. I could even just... See this? Being able to Battletoad this side is really sad. Do I win? 3/6. 2 damage, play another Axe Grinder behind. I mean, I could just Horsemaster and clear this guy. And he just jumps, and he's Tri-Collecting. He's Tri-Collecting, that doesn't really help me. I just need to analyze, can I actually win a race? Like, if I kill this frog and say, let's say I play another Axe Grinder, that's potentially 10 damage next turn. I take 9, which is going to put me down to 8. That's 9 minimum, by the way. A minimum of 9 damage. If I had one more Faeria, I'd be so much happier with the Horsemaster play. Oh, I actually... Yeah, we're going for the Horsemaster play, guys. Excuse my stupidity for a second. I was just like, I need one more Faeria. This isn't going to work. Oh, wait, I collect a Faeria. A little bit of Aquamath going on there. If you guys watch my stream, you'll know all about Aquamath. This is actually looking really good now. We're setting up collectors. We've seen Aurora being used. I think we've had 2 disciples so far. Any of its disciples that come down have to rebuild, which is really important. This Horsemaster should live long enough to collect. Depends if we see any Cypher's Wraths. Most of those cards are Spell Will cards, so it's very hard to analyze what other blue cards we might see, because I don't know exactly what came from the deck. But red cards so far, we'll have to see. So Cypher's Wrath. So he is running Cypher's Wrath. Flame Burst, okay. Into a Mochi. So that's probably off Spell Will. That's my assumption. So we can't play Cypher. So I feel we can probably draw. Do we play for Fatigue? I guess that's another question now. 7 cards, 9 cards. Our opponent is double collecting. If I can Cypher's Wrath this, I'm probably in a better position. Horsemaster. So yeah, we'll just play a Horsemaster to collect Faeria for us. Next turn we have Cypher, which could be handy. It's basically something else. My opponent has the Frogify, so we're not winning by any stretch of the means, but we're getting there. We're starting to come back, and if we can get some good swing cards like Cypher down, perhaps we will have what we need in order to keep things on fire. Whoa, Hellfire! Okay, I wasn't expecting that. So we don't get to play Cypher next turn. That's pretty sad. Again, like, I feel like we can heal. I'd rather pick up Cypher's Wrath this turn, but what do I play if I play Cypher's Wrath? I have to draw for Cypher's Wrath as much as I'd like to Crackthorn next turn. Or do I just Crackthorn? It's such a difficult decision. I can Crackthorn anyway, I suppose. So yeah, let's take the draw. Okay. So another Hellfire is going to be lethal, so I probably needed the heal there. But in all honesty, if I'm healing in that situation, I'm probably not winning anyway. Ground Shaker. It's just so much more difficult for me to win. Not drawing those Cypher's Wraths has been pretty sad for me. It's looking bleak, guys. It's looking bleak. Maybe I made a mistake somewhere along the last few turns. After that Firestorm, I felt like I could have stabilized. I was still behind, but I was in a much better position. I think I drew too many cards. Maybe I should have prioritized taking Faeria. I was so adamant on finding that Cypher's Wrath. I think I collided my judgment, and I didn't respect the fact I was being out-collected. I mean, I can heal, but what does it really achieve? If I could play Cypher on this tile, it'd be much better, actually. Maybe Sagami Warrior heal +1 pass, so I can still Crackthorn next turn. I mean, at least this way, I do apply pressure still. I'm not collecting any Faeria, but I might not. I mean, if I pick up another guidance, maybe I just Elderwood and then clear. But it very much depends what happens to my warrior at this point. My warrior gets frogified, it's actually probably just a loss. If my warrior doesn't get cleared, if it does live, I might have a chance to come back. I think he's actually deciding, does he remove it into another Ground Shaker? +1 Ground Shaker? Yeah, +1 Ground Shaker. So that is going to be game. I will give him a well played. That was an interesting deck. That was pretty cool to see, actually. Yep, so let's drop our Surrender here, and perhaps there were some decisions that you guys felt were the key to losing that game. So if you guys had, after watching this, if you see anything that I could have done differently, by all means, leave a comment in chat so I can have a read and have a think about some of your suggestions. But we'll go into another match, and we'll see how we do in the next game. Alright guys, we're going up against Sippi once again. Let's see, this is kind of slow. I don't mind keeping Ground Shaker because it gives us a turn 2 play, but we'll look at these two. As much as I'd love to keep an Elderwood Embrace, I feel it's kind of unrealistic. I do believe this is Sippi's alt account. And Sippi is playing mid-red, actually. I wasn't sure if Sippi had changed, but it doesn't really matter. See, Horsemaster's pretty valuable here because it allows my guys to clear, but to be honest, I'd rather just play it as a collector. If I play as a collector now, it probably doesn't die, and then I get to play Ground Shaker next turn. This should collect me at least 2 Faeria. Oh, more neutrals. Okay, so playing a little bit more aggressively here. Another Horsemaster would be pretty sick for me. Even a Cypher's Wrath now would be pretty excellent. Flame Burst, we'll take it. Move up. Flame Burst this guy. Bam. He is done. So it looks like he's prioritizing the Axe Grinder spot, which is fine because if a mountain does come down here with Axe Grinder, we get to move up, play our own Axe Grinder mountain, and then just kill it with the Ground Shaker. So we currently have initiative. I could have played in the wells, actually. I don't know why I didn't do that. I guess this actually gives me a better Horsemaster path. I could argue that, but probably just a mistake. I missed double collection this turn. But since our opponent is pushing aggressively, I feel that we need to apply some pressure ourselves as far as lands are concerned. Double collecting is actually really valuable next turn because of Garadan, but he can still curve down here. If I collect from this well, I go up to 9, I can +1 into Garadan, that's still an option. Setting up double collection is probably more valuable, to be honest. We're kind of forcing the lands here. He's trying to landlock me. He could double neutral across, but to be honest, we have double collection. It's going to take a lot of resources to kill this guy. And then I have Firestorm. I have Garadan next turn, potentially. Oh, maybe not. Does he double neutral? Double neutral isn't that oppressive, to be honest. Oh, hello, Crackthorn. Flame Burst? Now let's wait for Gary. Let's get Gary down. Gary's a good problem solver. Gonna cover that mountain, that's fine. It's gonna double neutral around, which means we can still forest in the Crackthorn if we want to. Fire Elemental. Yeah, that's fine. That's actually really good for us. We get to clear both these threats in one swoop. And set up a forest, unless I wait for the wood elemental. He's going for this spot. Maybe I just double neutral across here, and then just Garadan, and then next turn I can use wood elemental to apply the last forest I need. I think that's fair. We don't want him to have this axe grinder spot. I'm still weak to bomb slinger, the second bomb slinger. Maybe I play Garadan in a much more defensive position. Keeping Garadan alive is pretty important here because it actually has access to this, and this. Doesn't collect all the Faeria I'd like, but we're pretty far ahead as far as board is concerned now. And the resource investment to kill this is pretty high. Now, if he was to go... Let's say I play Garadan here, and then we had... Let's say Garadan came down here, and then he had Bombslinger Ciphers. We lose initiative again, which is why I didn't do it. But it doesn't let us play Crackphone this turn, which is a little sad. Kind of need to kill this. What's on the draw? Axe grinder. Actually, we could probably just do this. And then move Garadan over here. Because then Garadan can actually just... Garadan could actually just fly over this side and start double collecting for us. Which is pretty nice. And if I have Horsemaster, I have just 6 damage to the orb next turn. And this lines up with Firestorm as well. So if he hits into this, we get a good Firestorm next turn. Which is, I think, more valuable than just clearing it now. If we cleared it now, we don't have anything else to do. That was my issue. If I had Axe Grinder in hand instead of, say, the Wood Elemental, it would have been absolutely fine. And again, like, this is fine for us. Because now he's given us double collection. And we get the Firestorm. So, worked out great. Thank you very much. And we'll take Faeria, I think. Now he has +1 into Bombslinger, which is pretty nice. And again, we still can't Crackthorn, so maybe we were punished for not developing that forest there. Or just a little greedy. That was a good draw. It is fine, I top decked my way out of the situation. It happens a lot to me. my viewers will tell you that. I'll say, I need a Frogify, and then Frogify straight off the top. Even in Pandora. I had a Pandora run on stream, and every time I said I needed a Frogify, I just rip it right off the top. And I only had 1 in my deck. So I'm a bit jammy when it comes to top decking. Firebringer. That's fine. If I pump this up, it's probably worth it because I can just Flame Burst this next turn. It makes this harder to kill, so like Bombslinger wouldn't be an option. Well, it can't be an option anyway because he can't collect. But if he had like double Ciphers or Ciphers Flame Burst, he could just technically just run this in and kill it with one. It could kill this without having to hit it, and I'd rather him take the hit here, simply because it gives me removal opportunities. Hate Seed. All right, this is old school. I like it. Cypher's Wrath, you beauty. That's fine. +1. Clear this Hate Seed. Now this does give Sippi an opportunity to reclaim the left side, but I think I'm okay with that because I have Crackthorn next turn. Because this should live. Because you just Cypher's Wrath this, right? And then, yeah, I should be able to Crackthorn. Yeah, so Crackthorn going to come down here. Alright, let's just take a look at this situation. So, if I Crackthorn onto this spot, the Warbeast can collect and clear it. If I Crackthorn Beast here, it's actually a lot harder. And if it powers up this, I can actually challenge the Warbeast quite easily. So I think Crackthorn here is actually the best. Ooh. That's nice. I'll step on the mountain. So if Sippi wants the bomb slinger this, he has to make a new mountain, which is really important for me. And he can't Firebringer? Oh, another Warbeast. Okay. So we have another Crackthorn, which is going to be pretty valuable. And this Crackthorn can be aggressive. Or maybe I use this Crackthorn as a more defensive tool? I'm not sure. If I play it here, I basically force my opponent to build on this side of the board. So maybe actually going to this side is more important right now. So maybe I should have considered playing it here. Because an aggressive 3/3 doesn't really mean much. Let's cover this mountain. So what's a Faeria starved mid-red player do? If a Faeria starved mid-red player uses removal, it's pretty hard to get back on board, as you can see. So we're waiting for teleport. Like, teleport gives us a lot of outs. We use this to collect. Can actually take a draw. Use this to collect. Play a fire. A wood elemental is pretty good. Yeah, we'll just chill on this mountain, I think. Actually, we could even start moving towards this mountain. The firestorm just does nothing here. So at any point I draw teleport or a Horsemaster, this 9/9 can actually start finishing my opponent off. I can double neutral across here for Horsemaster, or I can just forest the teleport across. So I have a lot of options in that respect. Now Ground Shaker's not bad, I suppose, but there's no way good to play the Ground Shaker. Ground Shaker clears my 5/1, but these two can just kill Ground Shaker on its own, and then Sippi's in the same situation he was in last turn. Basically nothing to do. Not enough Faeria to play the cards. And if this doesn't die, I can collect off this well to open up lethal lines with Horsemaster or the teleport. So yeah, Grand Shaker here, again, not that great really. It doesn't really do enough. Oh, hello, Horsemaster. That should be lethal. It's close. It's not quite lethal. So we don't use... Well, we can actually just Elder with this. Basically the guaranteed lethal next turn. So the options were Sagami Warrior was another option. I could have just dashed a Sagami Warrior. But how does red heal, for one? And two, how does red clear 11-12 Crackthorn? They just don't. It just doesn't happen. He needs to kill me this turn, which he can't really. He can do a maximum of 6 damage. These two are blocking any Horsemaster plays for the Grand Shaker. So if he Cypher's Wrath this Horsemaster pushed damage, that would be 2 off lethal. So yeah, we were set up to win as soon as we drew mobility in that match. That wraps up this episode of Card Spotlight. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe you learned a few things. You know, I had a struggle against that Flame Silk Fairy deck, and I think I learned a little bit about greed there. I was quite greedy to not clear the bigger threat, which was the Fairy, if there is mobility in the deck. And I actually mentioned Shifting Tides after I Flame Burst it, I believe, and I got punished. So I got to learn something new there, and I got to see a cool deck. That deck was pretty funky. I did like it. Maybe I'll build something like that on stream in this upcoming week. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, drop a subscribe, and then you can keep up to date of when our content goes live. If you'd like to see more guys, decks, and stuff like that, just head over to Faeria.com/the-hub. This is a community website ran by the developers, so you can have access to all sorts of decks and information to help you get better at the game. Faeria.com/the-hub. Be sure to check it out. So until next time, guys, take care and enjoy Green Red Crackthorn.